motions. I have Councillors Fisher and Garwood that the special meeting of the Council of the Township of Springwater of January 24th come to order at 4:02 p.m. All those in favor? And that has carried. Councillor, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? And seeing none, at this time, I will now call on Shane and Anna of Watson Consulting for a presentation regarding our Community Hub Master Plan.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm joined here by my colleague Anna. So we had one or two small issues just logging in, so she may be a moment. But Anna will be leading off the presentation to provide you and the rest of Council with an update, obviously on the work from the November Council meeting. So we're looking forward to getting into the details and presenting you with the work we have done today.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, just trying to open the presentation. Are you able to see my screen?
We can, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Apologies for the technical difficulties today, but we can start. I just want to say good afternoon, Mayor, Councillors. I just wanted to kind of start this presentation with a brief summary of why we're here today. So we kind of wanted to go over what we heard last time and kind of provide additional feedback onto the revised design that we agreed to discuss today. So we're confident that we've incorporated most of the comments we heard last time, and we hope that the revised design today will kind of provide a better sense of what the full build out of kind of phase 1 and 2 will look like. Ideally, we're looking to discuss the framework for any future improvements and kind of ultimately receive approval on this schematic design so that we can move forward with kind of finalizing the master plan report over the next few months. Just so kind of to refresh and kind of summarize what we heard last time, we have several points on the screen you can see. But in terms of kind of the major changes, it was just to provide additional detail on the actual building itself, recognizing that some of the uses last time might have not been up to the kind of standard size, including kind of the gym being on the smaller end, some of the multi-purpose spaces being too large. So just kind of reconciling and providing just specific details on the design. You can kind of see it's going to follow a similar kind of layout to how we presented it before, where we'll have kind of the overall site design, and then we'll kind of dive in more to like the specific building as kind of key amenities, including aquatics, the gymnasium, and the library. This time having a bit more information to kind of go off of. I want to start with a bit of kind of context with the previous design and the revised design. So it's a bit high level. I'll compare the two and then I'll pass it off to Shane and he'll kind of provide more of the costing comparison. So as you can see on the screen, in terms of site layout, we have the previous design on the left and then the new design on the right. There's two major changes in the overall site design. The first being kind of the relocation of the outdoor amenities from the west side of phase 2 to the east side of phase 1. Locating it closer to Snow Valley Road. This just making sense from kind of like a build-out perspective. If phase 1's to be completed first, we'll have kind of the outdoor amenities ready to go along with it. The second is maintaining that tree buffer along Bayfield Street North. I know that was a comment that we received previously. So by doing that, we kind of consolidate circulation to the northeast at Bayfield and Snow Valley. There is opportunity for increased permeability into the site and connections through trails, but that will be explored at a later stage. And now focusing in a bit more on just the building itself. So the previous design on the left again, and the revised design on the right, there are some kind of shifting of major uses. You can see that the overall building footprint has shrunk a little bit. Of the major uses and facilities within the site, we've located the gym and aquatics now towards the north side of the site, and then kind of including change rooms just between both uses, since last time it was a little bit more disconnected. This time also kind of focusing the library on the south side, still including the multi-purpose space, and then relocating the cafe more towards the periphery, so there is potential access from the street level, from the outside. And then I'll pass it off now to Shane. He'll kind of go through the more costing and then, yeah, detailed design.
Okay, thank you, Anna. So yeah, we thought it would be a good touch point to obviously speak to the potential estimated building costs of the previous scheme and then the current scheme. So of those two, you can see we've kept the same line items for consultants contingency in the splash pad and the outdoor amenities, but we've identified potential savings in the building costs for phase one especially. So in the previous version, it was just over 87,000 square feet for the phase one, but due to some efficiency in the more detail that we're able to reduce that by just under 15,000 square feet. So those significant savings from over 64 down to $53 million proposed. And then if you wrap that back up with all of the consultant fees and everything else, there is just over an $11 million saving on that. So on the phase 2A and 2B, so the arenas and rinks, we did increase the size of the slightly to incorporate slightly extra mechanical room and Zamboni storage and items like that. But the quantity of that space will be detailed by the mechanical engineering team in the future to really understand exactly does the Zamboni need interior storage, exterior storage, all those types of details. So these are the working numbers that we tried to do. So the benefit of the detailed design is we're able to really drill down on the space configurations of the design itself. So Anna, can you go to the next slide, please? So this is the working version of the more detailed outline. So you can see we've looked at how the design would work in a kind of comprehensive scale with the whole site. So the east-west road connection that would obviously have the connection to the fire hall, and looking at the approach, the arrival, the kind of sequencing, and then having that east-west connection throughout the whole building as the organizational structure. So as you would walk in to the larger red arrow beside number 4, that is a generous central collecting space that would have the reception, that would have the local history, memorabilia, all of everything, and then everything would kind of spill from there. So then we've kind of broken into quadrants. So in the top right is the aquatics and the supporting change areas. The top left is the double gymnasium out the ancillary storage. And then on the south side, you'd have more of the kind of civic spaces with the library, multi-purpose rooms, and supporting spaces there. And then that central spine cover to carry through to phase 2. So phase 2A would be the larger of the two rinks with the approximate 200 seaters with the change rooms and the access. And then the phase 2B would be the approximate 50-seater, supporting kind of arena on the south side. So all of the change rooms and supporting services would be built as part of the phase 2A, and that would be able to tie on afterwards. So next slide, please. So to get a bit more of the kind of zoomed in details that I'm kind of speaking to. So we've really worked to tighten up each of those. The next slides will obviously speak to the various areas and costs broken down by grouping. I know those preferences from councillors to really get into the details on the sizing and cost allocation to each of those services. So as you can see, the number 1 beside the word legend would be that main access point. So it would be closer to the parking, closer to the intersection as you kind of come in. And then there's you walk in, there's the reception, and then off of that is the cafe and library. The cafe has the exterior facing area as well. So depending on hours and services as well, there's the opportunity for that to operate separately, and depending on the requirements that would be there. The library was maintained as a 2-story structure, so there is an internal stairwell in the library to provide contained access in there, and obviously various services. Kind of going east to west in the multi-purpose room, washrooms, and services space. The local history and memorabilia. Above that is there is a walkway around it, but it'd be a skylight above that to kind of show the very generous space with lots of light. And then the north-south access would provide access then to the gymnasium, the change rooms for both the gymnasium and independent change rooms for the aquatics hall, and then obviously that would spill through. Next slide, please. And then this is the mezzanine space. So the cafe and aquatics and the the first entranceway of the lobby and the gymnasium are all, you know, double height spaces along with the arenas. So everything that is colored is effectively what is, you know, usable space on the mezzanine. So the purple area in the top right is the proposed office area for staff in the facility to, you know, work on that. Obviously, open to discuss the exact requirements with staff on how many they anticipate. With, you know, supporting mechanical for the aquatics. Then there is a running track that would be on the mezzanine level above the gymnasium, but obviously not interfering with the clear height space required for the sports facility itself. And then on the south side, the second level of the library with some reading rooms, fitness studio, you know, then the storage washrooms and services along with that as well. And next slide, please. So the aquatic hall is the, you know, 4-lane, 25 meters with the separate therapeutic pool. So the number is 15 in the bottom left, and the 14. So there's, you know, showers, change rooms, you know, storage lockers and everything. So you come in, change there, go through the showers, and service that hall. So the estimated size of the aquatics facility is just over 13,000 square feet, which would be based on our $740 per square foot valuation, would be $9.6 million. And then the kind of programming breakdown of that of the aquatics hall itself would be the 6.8, change rooms and bathrooms 1.8, and then storage equipment 446,000, circulation 509,000 to supplement that. Next slide, please. These were just some of the precedents that we utilized in some of the previous examples, just for reference. Next slide, please. And then the gymnasium. Once again, so the total area of this facility would 18,665 square feet, bringing the valuation to 13.8 million. So that has, and then the running track on top of the perimeter. So on the west side here, where number 12 is, that is inset storage, obviously the various you know, needs of a gymnasium for, you know, be it balls or whatever else is going to be handled here, with the running track you know, inset above that. You know, supplemental cost there of 5.6, and then, you know, the court area, change rooms and washrooms. So in the top right of this image, the 15 and 14 there, the supplemental change rooms for the gymnasium, and then we have obviously the storage on the western side. Next slide, please. Let's get the you know, the vision precedence of that, and then the final kind of grouping. So, and then focusing just on the reception, cafe, library. So as you can see, you enter number 1, cafe is over there, and then the reception and local history, memorabilia, and library and multi-purpose. So this one obviously showcases primarily the library would be, you know, just over 8,000 square feet, with a combined cost of 2.9 million essentially per floor, since it is duplicated on both. So that would be the 5.8 million on that. So next slide, please. Yeah, once again, the various precedents of the kind of library style and kind of facilities that we would envisage there. And then so onto the arena. So obviously in the central area, you've got the circulation space spilling out from that main circulation. So variety of you know, change rooms, you know, team rooms, you know, public washrooms to supplement. They could be modified to more changing rooms if necessary. There's some storage and equipment, and you know, an office if necessary. So the full feasibility breakdown of those we'd anticipate we don't go through a needs assessment at a future phase, but this is the kind of supporting bar in that central space to allow access then from there into both of the arenas, with mechanical, electrical, and Zamboni you know, storage on the west side. So the phase 2A, so there's a dashed line along the corridor in the center. Thank you, Anna. Which would be the demising line, which would mean the total area given over to the phase 2A would be 30,357 square feet. For a total cost of 24.6 million, and then the phase 2B obviously would be, you know, a smaller arena, and you have the benefit of not needing to build you know, additional circulation space due to the layout. So that would come in at 25,984 square feet with 19.2 million, and then just the kind of separate breakdown of per use on each of those. So next slide, please. once again, just back to the the precedents for each of those. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this just to take the same information as spoke to on slide 8, just speaking to the various costs of the project for phase 1, phase 2A, phase 2B, bringing to a total project cost. So our hope obviously here is that we can obviously discuss the revised advanced design and answer any questions. Understand the previous version or the previous meeting, we wanted to maybe tighten up certain areas and assess the space allocation and ultimate budget that was associated to those. So we're very happy to go through the details, and if this aligns with council's expectation and vision, or if there's further modifications to be made to the design. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. At this time, Council, I'll have a mover and seconder to receive the delegation, and then we can have questions. I have Councillor Fisher and Councillor Moore that the presentation from Watson Consulting regarding the Community Hub Master Plan update be received. And at this time, Council, I will turn to you for questions and comments. Councillor Fisher.
Thank you. Just a few comments and then a question through to CAO Schmidt, I believe. Two things I did like to see in the revisions. One, the trees bordering on Bayfield Street. I know a few of my residents had mentioned that. And I think that definitely like to see those trees stay in there. So that was quite nice. Also to the hall space devoted to local history and memorabilia. I do like the fact that they put that in there. So I think there's enough space to deal with it. Of course, cost is always something I look at. So through you to CAO Schmidt, if we were to move into the RFP stage, would council still retain some ability to work with this design, to come up with cost saving measures, maybe have more input as we move on to that phase or stage?
All right. Through you, CAO Schmidt.
Thank you, Mayor Coggan. Through you to Councillor Fisher. So Councillor Fisher, yeah, I think just to maybe back up and maybe clarify the scope of this project for council as well as our residents. So the intent of this, as some of you may be aware, obviously this is stemmed over a couple of terms of council here. So, the original acquisition of this piece of property was for a fire station, which is underway. Not tangible today, but hopefully very soon. And then also we're working with the County of Simcoe to construct an EMS post on that same site. And then really the next phase was what we're talking about here is the remaining 40 plus acres, give or take. What can we do there? And really the process here was to staff and council already had some general ideas of what they would like to do in this area, but we went out to engage the Weston Consulting, and part of their engagement was to do community engagement, which they did, and through that they took that insight and that feedback, and they came with their concept plan, which now has seen a couple of reiterations to that. Essentially, what we're asking tonight is for council's input and hopefully actually approval of this concept plan. Again, 30,000 foot view, not detailed design. That would be kind of the next phase. So to your point or question, Councillor Fisher, yes, the next phase, if council is willing to kind of go there tonight, is essentially detailed design feasibility study, where now you can really start to shape what this looks like. So, for example, maybe the gym's not the size that you're looking for, and you want to shrink that or you want to change it, whatever you're looking for. Maybe the aquatics, you want to make some changes, library, whatever the case may be. That's kind of in the next phase, where essentially you get into that detailed design and you really start to shape what the cost of this facility could be. And in some cases, to your point, there may be and likely will be conversations about, hang on a sec, that we may not be able to quite afford some of these things, right? Tonight, again, concept master plan. If you approve it, you're not approving a $112 million facility, just so everybody's aware. That's not what we're doing tonight. It's essentially, the scope of this project was generally, if this is the type of facility that you're looking to build and the size, then this is the magnitude of what it could cost you, but you're not obligated to spend that amount of money. The next phase, you'll get into the detailed portion and make those final decisions.
Thank you. I do follow on, Councillor Fisher.
Just thank you, CAO Schmidt. I think it's really important as we take a look at these, that people hear that we're essentially moving on to the next, should we move on to the next phase? We're really starting to mold it and work with it. And that, you know, the 112 or $112 million price tag, it's not necessarily set in stone. We're really starting to mold it and see exactly what we want and what the sizes and costs really come down to. So thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you. I have Councillor Thompson and Garwood and then Thompson and Councillor Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Just a few comments. I agree with Councillor Fisher in regards to the local history and memorabilia. I'm happy to see that there. I think that mirrors the Aurelia facility that is done really well in regards to having that in their open lobby space there. So happy to see that. Understanding as well the cultural and Heritage Advisory Committee has also expressed interest of having space to be able to display things in the community. A couple comments. When I think about the running track that is suspended over the gymnasium, as a runner, it pains me to say this, but at $5.6 million, I think that is definitely a potential cost that could be removed. Understanding it is, personally, I'd love it, but again, it is quite expensive. And maybe more of a question that I might also throw out there is shared shared change room space, understanding that there's a couple $1 million in change rooms that have been allocated here. Understanding personally, I've spent a lot of times in some of these facilities across Ontario, and a lot of them have one central change space that is utilized for a pool, for an arena, and for a gymnasium. So maybe that's something that we could also take back and look at. So more just comments right now.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
Through the chair to CEO Schmidt, I think I'm in favor of the concept design. Just a couple of questions about the library. So the library board would like to have some kind, and the CEO would like to have input into the footprint size and the layout. So I assume that as we go to the next phase, that would be an opportunity. And how do you see that input taking place and moving forward?
CEO Schmidt?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Through you to Councillor Thompson. Councillor Thompson, yeah, absolutely. There will be conversations with the CEO and the library board as it relates to, assuming council provides direction to move to the next phase. There would be further dialogue with the CEO and the library board to ensure that, you know, all of those requests, if you will, are taken into consideration. Obviously, council will have the ultimate say as to what that looks like, but the intent in the CEO of the library, her and I have had discussions about tonight, and understanding that maybe it doesn't fit exactly what the library's hoping for per se today. Again, there's still room for that dialogue and that discussion around the council table, and ultimately the seven of you will make that decision as to what this looks like moving forward.
Councillor Alexander?
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes, perfect. Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Quick question. My assumption and I get the costs are very, you know, broad and vague right now. My assumption is they were just done kind of like on a per square footage for the size of the thing. So the only concern I would have would be to how, and I know they're not accurate, but even ballpark they are when I'm looking at a gymnasium versus a pool. That's not quite the same cost square footage, I would assume. So just if you could speak to that a bit.
And I'm not sure at this point, I'll turn either to Shane or Anna.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mayor, to Councillor Alexander. Yes, so the facilities cost is generally done on an aggregate basis. So yeah, like as the future phases, as CEO Schmidt was outlining, there will be a per use dollar per square foot costing, and there's going to be a lot of much more detailed cost analysis that goes into it. The structure, the floor finish, the spacing, all of that. We've used a bunch of similar size and scale facilities that have a variety of types of facilities. So when you take that average across that, you're indeed correct. Obviously, a change room is going to be cheaper than an aquatic facility. So we've averaged that out, and we understand that like our assumptions based on how much of each that we have is relatively close. So we feel comfortable that the total costs are definitely in the right ballpark. But if we're not at the stage to get into a detailed costing to say if we shrink the aquatics by this, is the 740 of that exactly accurate? I would say not so much at this point, but that's where the secondary phase with the architectural RFP and future studies will be able to really drill down on those numbers.
I think I saw Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. To CAO Schmidt. So if we move forward then today, pardon me, to architectural renderings and a potential feasibility study that would cement, what these costs are going to look like and potentially what the facility is going to look like. Is there an opportunity to reach out to the Y so that we can get input from the YMCA at the same time? Because quite often they are the ones that are running some of these programs and facilities, especially the pool, and making sure that we're sort of in line with what their expectations would be too. Looking down the road, they could potentially be managing that for us. Thank you.
CEO Schmidt.
Through you, Mayor Coughlin, to Councillor Moore. Absolutely. We've had some very high level conversations with the Y, but we haven't had anything of recent, just because of we're still in this process. But I think to your point, if we can get council's approval tonight for the concept, then we might have a little bit more information to be able to share with the Y, and then start to have some of those conversations with them to ensure that as we get into the detailed design, they can provide for some of that feedback and insight.
Thank you. Deputy Clerk Marshall, are you able to add that to a potential resolution? Yes. Thank you. And I saw Councillor Fisher again.
So another comment, a few things. One, I noticed there's a main hallway where the sports memorabilia is, and it comes in through what would look like a main entrance that's where people would be working. I also noticed another hall that goes past the change rooms out to like a forested area. I'll just say it. I see that as a bit of a safety concern, being a father myself, right? Having an exit right there might be something we'd want to take a look at in the future. But as for the pads, I'm in favor of having one pad. I've been vocal about that before. And I think as we take a look, this is a place for the entire community. And I know we have a facility up in Elmvale. And I think that as we go forward, in the spirit of saving money down here, but also keeping another facility alive, I'm in favor of having one pad and not spending the additional $20 million on having a second pad, right? For two reasons: one, cost savings, and two, frankly, we have another facility at the other end of Springwater. So those are my comments.
Thank you for those. Deputy Cabral, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss you at any point, if there's any. Or you're frozen, maybe. Sorry, I did see his hand.
But I am having some unstable issues here, but I'm fine. I'm listening into what I can hear. Thank you.
Council, at this time, I will have, if there's any further comments or questions, I do have I'm going to say an amendment to it, which would just provide our staff with direction to move forward. So at this time, I'll ask Deputy to read that.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. So I have an amendment here, and it reads that the motion now before council be amended as follows: to add that council hereby approves the Community Hub Master Plan as presented, and that council directs staff to proceed with the issuing of a request for proposal for the next phase of this project, which includes a detailed design of the community hub and a feasibility study, and that staff consult with the Y during the next phase of the project on the design of the community hub.
Is there any comments or questions on the amendment? I just ask for a mover and seconder for the amendment. I have Councillor Moore and Thompson. Nothing further on the amendment, Council. All those in favor? And that amendment has carried, and we will be back to the main motion. And before we do, I just wanted to say that I'm very excited about this next step. There's been a lot of work and a lot of years that have gone into it. So I think taking it to this next level, I'm excited that it's going to be part of this council and that we're going to keep going, because there are many things when you see hallways and washrooms and does this make the most sense? So I think this is the step that we've all been really excited to get to. So thank you very much for your work, Shane and Anna. It's much appreciated, and I look forward to staff taking this to the next step. So with that, as amended, council, all those in favor? And that has carried. Congratulations. All right. I will now move on to a mover and seconder for the confirmation bylaw, please. I have Councillor Garwood and Deputy Cabral. I will go with that, but that bylaw 2024-008 to confirm adopt the proceedings of the council of the special meeting held on January 24th, 2024, listed here and be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. All those in favor? And that has carried, and our mover and seconder to adjourn, please. I have Councillor Moore and Thompson that the special meeting of the Township of Springwater does now adjourn at 4:32 PM to meet again in regular session on February 7th, 2024 at 6:30 PM. All those in favor? And that has carried. Thank you.